Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. I didn't really plan much because I love the product. I use it every day. So I kind of know what to do instinctively, but I'm going to show you some of the cool new things that we're working on that in some cases nobody's seen before, or very, very few people outside of the company have seen it before. But they are in fact live. So you're going to see some really neat stuff today. But I also understand that many of you don't know the state of things, so I'll give you a lay of the land as well. Before I do so, my name is Adeo Resi. I'm CEO of the Decile Group. Our goal is really to modernize venture capital and bring it into the 21st century. Most of venture capital today runs on spreadsheets and email. Okay, that's how VC is done. A16Z, spreadsheets and email. Like, name the firm, spreadsheets and email. Obviously, that's not really viable in 2025. And the way they've gotten away with doing spreadsheets and email for the last few decades that venture capital has operated is because they have lots of associates and junior people filling roles in the company to do monkey work, if you will. And what's really changed in the last year is that AI, especially if it's well trained, can really fill the role of a talented associate. Okay. And I want to talk about this for a moment because this is really probably one of the most important things that are happening in venture capital today. So, and it's not really well understood or being discussed very much, but you you as an venture capitalist or an aspiring venture capitalist can essentially get the equivalent of a very large team with the help of AI, and that just wasn't previously available. So in the past, if you wanted to become a venture capitalist, you'd have to, you know, learn everything yourself, and then you start doing some venture capital, possibly working at another firm. You learn by working at another firm. So it was an apprenticeship model. Once you gained enough knowledge, you would split out. You would take some LPs from the firm that you worked at. They would anchor your fund, right? Now you would have your own fund with stolen LPs from the fund that you worked for that anchored you. And there was a lot of like tedious legwork that needed to be done. So you would bring on like very talented people coming out of Harvard, Stanford, and some top Ivy League schools as associates to do this tedious work, right? Those associates then would go through the apprenticeship process and then launch their own funds. And that's basically how venture capital worked for the last few decades, literally. And with spreadsheets and email. Now, in the last 2 years or so, we've been building out infrastructure to run these firms, and I'll show it to you in a moment. But more importantly than that, we've been training AI, and we have a completely custom trained AI on venture capital. And that AI is now being used by university programs training venture capitalists. And they all have, many professors have come to me and said, hey, this is the absolute best AI for venture capital answers. So I'm telling all my students to use it because you can't search for this stuff on the internet. The traditional AI model, if you can't search for something on the internet, then the AI models don't have the data. So we're the only real model that understands how venture capital works. And essentially, we've turned that model into the equivalent of a virtual associate. So now what we're seeing happen is a real transformation in venture capital where a GP with decent knowledge, so they don't have this long apprenticeship. So a venture capitalist with decent knowledge can act like a venture capital that's been through a long apprenticeship because the tools are giving that VC the knowledge needed to make good decisions. Okay. Because the AI has been really trained on how to operate a venture capital firm. Not only that, the AI now is doing a lot of menial work that was once delegated to these associates. And in fact, with AI, you can have like a bank of a specialized associates that do all sorts of different things for you, specialized in social media, specialized in deal research, specialized in anything else that you need. And so now a single, decently trained venture capitalist can perform as well as a whole venture capital firm 5 years ago with 10 or 15 people. So this is a massive transformation. A single person with decent training can operate as well as an expert group of people working in venture capital just 5 years ago, right? It's incredible. So what I want to do is, and I want to take a moment and just, does everyone here get that? Do you believe that statement? Does anyone, you can type in the chat, does anyone question whether that's true or not? I'm going to show it to you in a moment, but I'm just curious if that resonates with people. Well, thank you. That's an awesome product. And someone else is saying it's about time. Yes, I agree with both of those statements. It is an awesome product. It is about time. Um, but okay, so let me get started. And maybe the first thing I'm going to do is just show the AI itself. And what we did, and I see that there's already a comment in the chat that, I haven't seen it yet, the tech, but I'm going to start with the AI. And so I'll share my screen and hopefully everyone can see it. So one of the easiest places to access the AI totally for free is at decilegroup.com. And at the bottom of the page, we call the AI base, Decile base. Hey, Woody. And at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see Ask Base. And you can literally right now ask one of the best trained model in the world about venture capital anything you want. And before we ask it a question, let me just talk about how we trained it. So we've operated now 18 cohorts of VC Lab, which is a venture capital training program, plus five. We're entering our fifth cohort of the Venture Institute, which trains associates, plus our fifth cohort of the LP Institute, which trains LPs. And all the participants, the venture capitalists, the people working in venture capital, and the limited partners that fund them have been asking us questions, and we've been answering those questions with top experts in the field. And this knowledge base now of thousands and thousands of questions being asked and answered is the hive mind behind the AI. So you can ask it simple things like, what is a capital call, right? And obviously, see, it's had that question before. And so it's gonna, and I'll just make this a little smaller so everyone can see. I think, yeah, so here it goes. And it will not only give you the answer, and this is a pretty good answer that is going to be far better than what you're going to see on, let's say, a chat GPT or on another AI such as Claude or whatever. They can, when there's simple questions like what is a capital call, they're all going to be pretty good about that. But when you get to fairly nuanced stuff, that's when you're going to see this knowledge base really shine. And so not only, as you can see here, does it give you a good answer, it will link to different resources because it's not only the questions that are being referenced by the AI, but we've written articles and various things and it will link to them. And then it has related questions. So like what happens if a LP does not answer, do a capital call. But beyond these sort of easy questions, right, you can get pretty nuanced. Like, for example, what happens? I have an, let me just type in the thing. I have an LP that has not wired their capital call twice in a row. Um, what should I do? All right. Now, this is actually a pretty challenging situation to be in. It's very specific to venture capital. And again, if you were to ask a normal LLM, you might get an answer, but I can tell you that most likely that answer would be something you should trust. Um, so this is now giving you pretty good structural advice. And actually, this is exactly what I would do, right? And the nice thing, so again, you can ask this AI anything about a subject matter. And by the way, it's kind of got a combination of legal knowledge, tax knowledge, operational knowledge, strategic knowledge. So it's sort of like a AI advisor in your pocket. And by the way, when we do things like we have the equivalent of a AI associate, it's using this knowledge coupled with specific training for specific tasks, and that's how it's able to do some amazing things. But it's also very clearly instructed like not to answer things that it does not know. So if you ask it something like who is Taylor Swift, um, it's going to say, hey, like I don't know, I can't answer questions not that's not related to venture capital, right? So if I make this a little larger so you can see, I can only so it's not going to answer things it doesn't know. It's not going to talk about stuff unrelated to venture capital. It's very specifically focused on VC. And the reason we can build such amazing tools is because we have this powerful AI underlying it. And it is free for you to use right now on decilegroup.com. And so if you need help understanding a topic, if you need help writing an email, if you're stuck with a situation with an LP and you don't know what to do, this is a really great resource. Let me move over next and just show some of the ways we've implemented it. For those of you who haven't seen Decile Hub before. This is what it looks like. What you'll see is that you have a left-hand nav that has all the different sections. And there's a lot of things that Decile Hub can do, but we actually start out hiding a lot of it because it's kind of overwhelming. So you're going to see this navigation section where you can turn on and off things. You can look at subsections and turn them on and off. And so this allows you really to customize your experience. So for example, if you want AI toolkits to use a lot and Decile Research to use a lot, you can put them up top, close navigation sessions, and then there they are at the top. So it's a very powerful tool with lots of really neat things. And I want to show you today some of the really cool AI powered things, some of which aren't even live today, but are coming very soon, and some of which that are live but may not be known about, etc. Um, Woody, welcome. I was in the
Hi,
middle of
thank you.
yeah, hi there. Woody's on our engineering team. He's pretty awesome. He's built many of these things himself. So maybe if you spend a moment and just quickly introduce yourself, and then I'll continue with the demo.
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm the product lead here at Decile Group. If you do end up using Decile Hub, I'm sure you'll see my face on our support forums or videos throughout the platform. We love building this with you guys, and there's a lot of customer interaction and user interaction. We kind of build this with you is how we put it. Yeah, if there's anything you want me to demo, Adeo,
No,
you
well,
let me
not
know.
now.
Otherwise, yeah,
I've
you
got it
take it
under
away.
control. If you think of something that I haven't shown that's cool and being worked on now, then yes.
Okay.
But I'll show a couple really neat things to get started. And you just got promoted to product lead, so
Yes, that's right.
congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, and let me just say one thing that Woody said that was really important, and I want to double click on it. We don't just build things. I mean, sometimes we do, but for the most part, we don't build things randomly. We build our product in conjunction with the community. And there's roughly 1,000 firms. I think we might even break 1,000 firms in the month of July that use Decile Hub every month. And we talk with everyone and anyone that we can. Hey, what do you need? What will help make your life easier? And then we go build it. Um, Probably, let me just kick it off with one of the cool new things. This is not out for everyone yet, but I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to talk about why it's important and what the future holds. Okay. So at the top here, you're going to see this Ask AI button. It says ask a question or search base. Now, in the past, and for most people who are using the product today, this was the AI search that you saw at decilegroup.com just um, in the product. But what we've done, and this is our demo site, is with select people, we've turned on our new AI powered search. And I want to talk about that for a minute because it's very cool and it's really kind of the underpinning of where we're going with the product. So, what we've been doing is we've been hooking up pieces of the product into AI, right? So, the whole product is linked to AI. And we actually use different AIs for different things. There's some models that are really good and fast, but they may come from a model provider like OpenAI, where like you don't necessarily want to send sensitive data. So we'll use the OpenAI stuff for some things that aren't sensitive, and we'll use more closed and private models for sensitive data. So we're linking different pieces of the product to an AI engine, and then that AI engine you can configure which thing to talk to. And then now what we're doing is all that linking we're pulling together into one, let's say, search box right here. And I'll show you some cool things, what it can do in a moment. And so you can do things like ask about how many LPs you have, or ask is this an LP? And you can start asking it really kind of complex questions about your fund, and this search was really smart and will say, okay, woo, they're asking about a person. Let me use this AI, search people this way, and present the data this way. So we're doing really neat things. And where this is going is that you'll eventually be able to manage your whole firm and fund with AI, saying things like, I want to do a capital call for 20%, and it will just do the capital call for 20%, and you don't have to do anything else, right? That's where we're going. And so, just to show how some of this plumbing works, like this is the new smart search enabled on our demo account, and some of our customers and users already have it. So let's say I just type Travis, right? So what the AI is doing right now is Okay,
We
well,
have a lot of data on Travis because he answers questions. That we maybe need to search a different prospect that's not so
that's
prevalent
pretty
in the.
funny. Well, let me try. So yeah, so it actually was like Travis works at the company. Do you have a question about tech? Here's his Calendly link. I'm like, oh, that's pretty smart. But yeah, so let me try something. Maybe it will give the same result, but essentially it can detect intelligently. Um, I wonder if it would do that for you, Woody, if I said, let me see if it realizes that I'm asking. Wow, you're right. It knows a lot about Travis. It says, if need more info, can I search for Travis contact details? Let's see if they can figure that out. Um, wow. All right. I probably shouldn't show his phone number and everything on there. But so what? Okay, let's just. Unfortunately, I didn't mean to share Travis's contact details, but what I wanted to show was it's like, hey, Travis is head of engineering at the company. Would you like me to search for his contact details? And Travis is actually one of the people in our database. And it said yes. So then it was able to find Travis in the database using AI. And so what you're starting to see is it's like, and there he is in our as a prospect to fundraise from. So it's like, hey, Travis is CTO. Here's his Calendly link. Here's some information on him. Do you want us to find his contact information? Yes. Then it went into the different pipelines, said he's, so I can ask, like, is Travis Giggy an LP? Now, I haven't tested any of these uh, questions, so I don't know what's going to happen, but it's again using. Okay, so he's not identified as an LP yet, but it's searching all of our databases and figuring this stuff out. And you can start asking some really advanced questions. But in addition to asking about things like, how many LPs do I have? I haven't tested this question. Let's see if it can figure that one out. So it tells you how to do it. Um, it says, hey, show me my current LPs. So it's leading with additional questions. Okay, now it's going through and figuring it out, um, going to the fundraising pipeline. So with the advanced search, you're going to start to be able to suck in all sorts of data from your system, ask it to do things, ask it to write emails, ask it to search for people, etc. Maybe searching for Travis isn't a great idea because he's in the company, in the pipeline, in this and that, but you get the gist. Um, what I want to do is also show some other really cool AI tools that are purpose built. So as I began opening, right? So the global search is we're working on right now just to finish on that to unify all the data into one thing so that you can start asking really smart questions. But what you're going to also, and that goes across your whole organization, all the data, search for LPs, search for deals, ask where deals are, etc., and have all that in one place. In addition to that, as I was mentioning in the opening, you want to have specialized tools, almost like associates, to help you with specialized tasks. And this is where you're going to see our AI toolkits. And we have a whole bunch of them. You can plan events, you can generate social, um, you can get fund admin advice, you can get an AI advisor, they can build the deck. And I'll just show some of these to you. So what these are doing is taking all that knowledge that I was talking about in the beginning, then applying some specialized knowledge as well, and then really helping you. So let's say, for example, I'll do the some of these kind of out of order. Maybe I'll start with thesis first because a lot of you will say, "Hey, what's my thesis?" So you say, "Okay, one of the cool things about Decile Hub is it supports multiple funds." So, so we're going to just go with sample fund one here, and it's going to help me write a thesis for sample fund one. So the first thing and what we've done to do this is all the training. So it's a, hey, I see you have a thesis. Would you like to edit it or create a new one? So I'm just gonna, what do you guys think? Edit or create? In the chat, anyone edit or create? Great. Let's create a new one. That was the first one I saw, though I did see edit. So now it's going to ask me a bunch of questions about what geography I'm in, etc. And it will help me write a thesis, right? So we'll say, hey, what's your fund name? Well, we'll call it sample fund one. Then what's the fund size? Maybe 5 million. What's the stage, pre-seed, country, and location, Palo Alto, geography, US, sector, let's say AI. Well, let's even be more specific. Agentic AI, uh, and secret sauce. I am a leading agentic AI investor with a 5.2x TVPI. I mean, that's not really true, but okay, so we'll submit that, and you can have typos. And now it's going to give me all sorts of examples. And it will say how you could improve it. But I'm going to say I like number two, right? And one of the neat things about this is that it's going to then say, oh, if you like number two, you can save it to the system and replace whatever is there, hopefully. Uh, Sometimes it can be a bit slow, but it should say, let me say, hey, if you like number two, you can save it to the system and update your thesis. I want to show some other tools. So if this is taking a moment, what I can do is I'll just open another tool while we wait.
One tool I think you should show is the LP archetype advisor, since that
Yeah,
helps
yeah, I'll
get
get to
people
that
good. That's my
in
favorite.
a second. So this one's running a little slow. Again, so what it's doing right now, why it can be slow at times, it's not us. Sometimes it's us, but oftentimes it's not us. It's communicating with the AI server, and sometimes the AI server can be a bit slow. So we'll come back to that in a second. So again, let's go to a deck builder. So now I have a thesis, and it hasn't saved my new thesis yet. So Woody, if you could check on it while I go and do so now not only
Sure.
will it allow me to update the thesis, etc., it will do things like build the deck. So you pick again the fund that you want a deck for. It will look at the thesis. Now I haven't updated the new thesis. Um, so this is the previous thesis was a $7 million pre-seed fund in Palo Alto to back US and Canada AI-powered climate startups. So it's actually going to just look at the thesis, know how what should be in slides, and take any data in the system, and it's going to build out a sample deck for you slide by slide. And of course, you could say, looking at this, so it's going literally the whole deck, it will build for you in a second. Let me see if it's updating. Not yet. So that's getting stuck at the moment. It will also produce optional slides. And one of the nice things about this, so it's making a deck for you kind of instantly, is that you can dialogue with it. So you could say, Adeo Resi is the only managing partner. Um, please update. And then it will just update that deck with that. And so you can use this um, and dialogue with it and work with it to build your deck. Admittedly, now in text, eventually what we're going to do is have a button where it will just spit out a PDF with all the finished slides once you converse with it and say, fix this slide, update that slide. But since we build lots and lots of slides and lots of decks because we've launched about 800 firms and more funds worldwide. We know what should be in the decks, so we can, and and the AI is sucking data, so it pulls together data from the internet, knowledge on how to do slides, and puts it all together in this really nice package for you, making it really, really easy. Um, just to keep going with some other cool AI toolkits, and we're definitely going to show the one that Woody talked about, the archetype advisor. Did you find out why the thesis thing froze? Maybe if I
It's loading on my screen. If you refresh, it should show. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay. Yeah. I refreshed. Okay. So save, maybe just reloading sometimes works. So save thesis number two to profile. Boom. We're going to do that. And now it will update actually the thesis in the system. So one of the neat things about the AI, which is what I was trying to show, and I guess just reload, is that if it will do things like update the system with, so you can have a dialogue about what your thesis is, and when you get to the point where you like a thesis, you could just say save the thesis, and it will save it to the system. You don't have to copy the thesis from the AI thing and paste it into your thesis field. It just, the AI will save and update data on your behalf. I can show you this in a moment with another thing. So the AI deck builder is pretty cool. Let's look at some other things. Another area that you need to do as a manager is create social. This is something that you'll traditionally delegate to your associates. So we can go over to the social generator. Again, you pick the fund you want to help. And what this does is it goes and uses AIs like Perplexity that has access to the internet. It's still using the climate tech thesis, and it will go out on the internet and find news and events and things like that related to AI and climate. And you're seeing it's doing the research right here, and you can look at even the things that it's found, right? And then it's going to start producing uh, news items, sample posts, short and long, that you can then use. And you don't need an associate to do all this research and come up and then help you manage your social. You just have some really an AI tool that does that for you. So now the AI is helping you with the social, the AI is helping you with your deck, and there's a lot of other cool things I want to show as well. And these again are like specialized tools to replace functions that you might have associates do with you. This one's really cool as well. So you probably need to be running events as a modern day venture capitalist, right? You want to do events for LPs, you want to do events to get founders together and build your network. And we have a whole event system, but even cooler is we have the ability for the AI, because when you do, just because you have an event system, you have to still pick the type of event, the time, the day, all this stuff, write out the description. That takes time. But now you can just brainstorm with AI. So it's like, you want to edit an existing event or do a new event? We'll create a new event, right? So I believe, okay, thank you. Tell me a little bit about the event, and it gives you some ideas. So, and let's say, I don't know, Woody, let's do, I want to do,
Investor dinner is always an easy option, or yeah,
well, I was thinking LP dinner on July 23rd at the Modernist, uh, uh, at 8 p.m. With 10 people. Okay, so just boom. All right, that's it. So now it's like, oh, title, tagline, description, agenda, location, venue name, but you know, create the event for me, right? So now remember, it can write to the system, and it will now actually say, okay, here's all the stuff for the event, the agenda, all this stuff. Hit submit. Boom. It's updating the data you can see down here. And now, if I go over to the event system, um, LP networking dinner, here it is. If you look, July 23rd, it's in draft mode. I go in, it's got the agenda, it's got all the stuff. And that took me what, Woody, 30
90
seconds?
seconds. Yeah. Will
I
you
mean,
show them what
I
it
was
looks like?
talking.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Well,
90 seconds. I mean, how cool is that? Right? How cool is that, guys?
will you show everyone also what our events look like if you open
Yeah,
up
yeah.
any
So
of
now
them?
I go here and this is what it looks like. LP networking dinner. Of course, it has a stock image, but you can put your own image. It's in 6 days. Here's all that about. Now, I didn't write any of this, right? I just told the AI to write it. It did say 12 a.m., so it went on mountain time, so that you can fix. But that just saved like I don't know, 15, 20 minutes worth of work. And by the way, I probably would have told some associate in the olden days, hey, launch me an event and it's going to be at the Modernist and we're going to have LPs. And then maybe a few hours later, the associate would be come back and be done. So not only is it replacing the associate, but it's actually faster than what the associate would do for a similar thing. Now, there are tons and tons of these examples, guys. Um, oh, we got a timeout here, by the way. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go back to, I want to show some other things. Now, I want to talk about this AI advisor here. This is pretty cool. So, Mike Supervici and I are probably some of the top advisors in the world on how to launch a new fund and be a new manager and emerging manager. And so what we did is we took all the advice that Mike and I have given to managers over the years and turned it into an AI, and that AI is able to suck this data about basic situation of your fund, where you are with fundraising, where you are with deals, and then take the mind of Adeo and Mike and give you advice, and that's called the AI advisor. So let's pick a fund here, and it's going to pull in all the situational data of the fund, take all the knowledge of Adeo and Mike and give very poignant minute by minute strategic advice on what to do now and what to do next. And it's fantastic. Most people look, it's like AI, it's not going to be always perfect, but we test it a lot. In fact, we have people that work with funds and they use this and they say, oh, wow, these recommendations are pretty good. So it's like fund status, sample fund one is in closing, you've made significant progress. Advice, Mike and Adeo, I love it. Mike and Adeo would emphasize that you're at a critical juncture. Hmm. I'll make this a little better so everybody bigger so everybody can read it. Um, so let's scroll down. Oop. All right. Mike, Kristen, with 24 in your target already contributed, you have validated your thesis in the market, but you now need to convert the remaining commitments and secure additional capital to reach your $10 million goal. Your strong early performance is your greatest asset. While 10 of it demonstrate the ability to deploy capital, remember that during this closing stage, 90% of your focus should remain on fundraising. Great advice, not operations. Only pursue new investments that are exceptionally aligned with your climate AI thesis and have high probability of marked up quickly. Great advice. Consider expanding beyond your current LP archetypes to include institutional limited partners because they're nearing the end of the closing and they got to reach 10. Great advice. So now, actually, I'm like, oh, I would make that advice. I'm like, oh, pat myself on the back, except it's not me, it's AI. And you didn't have to have a half-hour meeting with me to get the advice. And then it takes it and turns it into a 2 week plan, right? A 4 week plan and an 8 week plan gives you some next steps and more specific guidance. I mean, guys, this is insane. Okay. I'd love to hear in the chat what people think, but you're basically getting, and I've scanned this, and this is exactly what I would say to a manager. And then not that it's patternistic, but if you're at a certain point and you have these situations, like we've given this advice in different formats to different people over and over again, it's synthesizing that based on your real world need right now at your firm, at your fund, with the data from the system. So this is game changing, right? You're getting like a top advisor in real time to help you with what to do right at this moment.
If
There's a
if I
lot of
can add in a note there also, everyone with the advent of LLMs, everyone's got access to a lot of the same models, and we don't have any difference there. What we've really found now is the new differentiator is the data that your models have access to. And I'd say that's really one of our competitive edges is these unbelievably, world-class VC experts, thousands, tens of thousands actually now of conversations with them, feeding this data set and teaching our AIs is really something that you only can get here.
Yeah, and I'll just there's a lot more to show. So I want to be sensitive on time. So let's show the LP archetype advisor. Again, you pick your fund. And this thing's really cool because what it's going to do is it's going to look at your thesis, right? Double check that this is your thesis. Again, it didn't update before. Um, and Woody, if you could take a look at why, but whatever, that it works. I used it the other days. Uh, I can't say that everything works all the time, by the way. That's just technology, especially with AI, because AI is like a imperfect system in and of itself. So if it's giving instructions to our system and it has a typo, or which it AI makes typos all the time. It's like my middle name, AI typo. It makes code bugs all the time. Then it doesn't work. But okay, so back to the point here. So now it's starting to suggest, hey, if you have a climate fund, here are some sample archetypes of investors you want to go after. And not only will it give you the sample archetypes, but will give you search terms to find those archetypes. So then you can go over to LinkedIn and look for tech executive, climate advocate. Then I can go to my first degree connections, right? Then I could say, oh, hey, Matt looks really great. If I click on Matt's contact information, it will show it, but I don't want to. And then if you have the contact information open, and I hit my browser plugin, Decile Hub's AI will read everything about Matt. He'll also see the organizations Matt part of. I'll say, hey, I want to work with Matt here. Um, and then it's going to build a profile on Matt, including his contact information if I have the contact information open. And then it will allow me to, with one click, import Matt to my pipeline. And one of the other things that it does that's really cool that is it will figure out who the connector is that that knows Matt, and it will tag that connector in the system so that if you don't directly know Matt, but you want to, in this case, Matt's a first degree connection, but let's say he wasn't, or if you want to tell Matt and say, hey, Matt, I'm doing this new thing, and you say, hey, Karen, tell Matt that Adeo's a really good guy. You'll know other people that know Matt, and that will be tracked in Decile Hub. So then all I need to do is hit this import button. And remember, um, it's then I can go over to my limited partners pipeline, which is fundraising here. I can not search for Travis, obviously. And then in the added category, there he is, Matt, right? And the nice thing, if I go into Matt, I didn't have his email because I didn't open the contact thing, but it has a lot of information about Matt in his field. So if I go over here, it wrote a pretty big profile of him, which you can see in the notes field here about his background, his interests, etc. And that's all available to the AI. So if I wanted to say like, hey, how many what let me see what he does here. So net zero ESG people do I know? That note will be available to the AI to search for, and Matt's name will come up because his profile is enriched with that. So these are just, again, things that you might have an associate do. Gab, create a profile on everyone in my LP pipeline. And now the AI is doing that instantaneously. There's so many other cool things to show. I want to show a couple other cool things. I know we're not getting a lot of time on questions here. One of the neat things is that all of these pipelines, if you see up here, this pipeline ingestion email, they all have an email address, and you can just copy it right there. You can also edit it and customize what the email address is, but every single pipeline has an email address. And you can mail in to the pipeline an email that has a deal in it. In this case, I emailed this landings deal, and it will put the organization name. This is a real deal of a friend of mine. It will read the deck and any attached material and create a synopsis. It will add all the founders and people that are associated with the deal. It will figure out this deal was sent to me by my friend Jeff. The CEO is Lisa, and it figured out that Lisa was the CEO and Jeff was the connector and put everyone in the right fields. It also automatically scored the deal on how relevant it was for my company. So I just emailed in the deal. In addition to that, it scored the deal, profiled the deal, figured out who the CEO was. It also took all the materials and it put all the materials in here, right? And now all of that is available to the AI. And so let's go and do a deal memo on this. So now all that's happened is I've got an emailed in deal and it did all this other stuff with AI. And now I'm like, I kind of like this deal, right? I think it's a good deal. So I'm going to start working on a deal memo. And look at this. It figured out the about. I didn't write that. The AI wrote it, right? And like they're boring things like what is the product as service and what pain. I know I read the deck. So I'm just going to hit write with AI. And AI is saying, look, I'm accessing all this stuff and I'm going to generate it. And so it's writing it. And now I don't have to do this boring crap for the deal memo. It just pulled all that stuff automatically from the deck, from the email, from everything else. And now that Lisa is in the system, every email that I've ever had with Lisa's in the system, it's accessing all that. And it just wrote that section in 2 seconds. I can rewrite it. I can reverse it. I'm just going to add it and save it. So just that alone, right, saves me like hours. Again, this is something that an associate would classically do. You'd forward them the email, you forward them all the emails with the CEO. You'd be like, write this boring crap that I need, but it's really just regurgitating stuff from the deck. And you could describe the market size. That's probably all in the deck. I don't really need to redo it all myself. And now it's accessing all this information and do et cetera, et cetera. And by the way, if you want to do your own analysis, you can type in some stuff into the field, like I like this, I think it's good, and it will pull that in. Um, right? So that's also done. So, it's just taking a tedium and making it really, really easy to do in seconds versus hours, delegating to associate, etc. Again, there's so much cool stuff, guys. There's just not enough time in an hour. We have 4 minutes left, and I haven't even shown all the things I want to show. I want to show one other thing, sadly, so we may not get to much Q&A. But what we've also done, which is really cool, is we've made an AI of different VCs. So I can say, let me continue this one. Um, where you can pitch. Maybe it's better to start from the beginning, where you can pitch uh, uh, a VC, a LP, excuse me, as a VC and practice it. So I'll say my first name is Adeo Ventures. I'll just fund size, let's say 10 million. Okay. Or what did I say? 5 million. So I'm gonna get 5 million. All right. So create session. Um, And so this allows you to go through and practice pitching with different LP types. So there's a cheerleader here, just kind of jokingly. And of course, Adeo is the boss. So I'm going to pitch myself. Great choice. Start the practice pitch testing. So um, before you start, here's some stuff. Do you have, let's move on. And so, what's your one sentence thesis? I don't really have a thesis yet. Okay. So you can also, by the way, you see this record? I could just speak to it. So it says, what's your fun thesis? So I could hit record and I can talk to it, but I'm just typing for, and so it's going to now, by the way, analyze and of course, I'm maybe a little rude to myself here. And it's going to analyze my response, score it, and tell me, okay, I got a 10%. At least maybe what it say, and then I can read its feedback on why that was really bad. You need to develop articulate, clear. So we do all these AI tools like this pitch practice, so you could actually then, once you get your thesis down and figure everything out, you can start practice pitching with LPs to get yourself accustomed. It will grade you on how you pitch. Um, and then again, as I said, I don't know if the voice will work if I'm on Zoom, so maybe I won't mess around with that. But you can actually just talk to it like you're talking to the LP. But since we're on Zoom, my guess is that won't work. Now, I haven't, as I said, even first of all, in the chat, how cool was some of the stuff that we saw?
I'm biased, but I'm very proud of our deal memo features. Thank you for demoing that.
And you're working on the
Yeah,
next gen of
w- we're about to upgrade to some of that deal memo stuff. We're doing even more intense deep market research. Founder research will be included automatically. So we're shipping stuff constantly.
All right, lots of questions from Emil. Let's go through a few quick questions and wrap. So, how would it be to implement a feature that can analyze software code? We don't. We could do that, but it's not going to be on the short-term roadmap, Emil, because there are great code analyzers out there, and we're just going to be focusing on VC stuff. Um, When will the feature listed as beta be universally available? Most of the beta features are universally available. The universal search isn't available, as you saw with the Travis example. It worked, it was a little goofy. So we're testing the goofiness and working it out right now, and that will go live. But the other beta stuff is there. I see my camera's frozen. Am I frozen for you?
It's frozen, yeah. We can still hear you great though.
Oh, great. Well, I look like an idiot, so it could be worse. Uh, have you implemented the AI GP LP matching tool that suggests connections? Did you do, who did that, Woody? Connor built, yes, we
Yeah, that was
have,
Connor who just built that yesterday.
yeah, my camera keeps freezing for some reason. So we have an AI tool that will match you with startups and LPs with GPs. So if your thesis is in the system and an LP is interested in climate and you're like a climate seed stage fund, it will match you. So we have AI powered matching based on interest right now, Emil. That is pretty amazing. And but it's not used publicly yet. But the startup deal sharing is coming out in the next week or so, would you say?
Week, I'd say. Yeah.
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 Okay, so check
Couple
this
days
out.
probably.
Yeah, publicly it will go into beta and private and then public maybe a couple weeks, right? So you'll be able to a deal in your pipeline, hit share. It will automatically create a profile on that deal. And then we I didn't show this. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you the cool. You want to see one more super cool thing? Like super ultra cool. All right, let's see. Okay, let's go back. All right. So we have in the system for everybody here this section called Decile Research. And right now in Decile Research is limited partners. And in limited partners, there's almost 200 of the top limited partners in the world, and that list is growing. So you get access to the top limited partners in the world in Decile Hub. Okay. And that this is all limited partners, not really smart matching. And we're going to start adding smart matching, right? Very soon. And the part of that will be first with deals. So you'll be able to click a button to share a deal. That deal will go into the Decile research area, but because your thesis is in the system, you will only see deals related to your thesis. So we're going to do smart matching on deals. And then next, we'll do the smart matching on the LPs so that you're only going to see LPs that are a really good fit for your fund in our LP shared database. So we have really, really exciting things company coming. Now I'm probably late to my next meeting. In fact, I am late to my next meeting, but this was really great, everyone. Uh, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We're just doing a lot of amazing things. Technically, Woody is doing a lot of amazing
The
things.
rest of the team is doing amazing things.
Also, yes. And I'm really happy to share it with you. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. And this is really just the beginning. Our vision is that you'll be able to run a big firm with a small team because AI has like force multiplied your abilities dramatically. Thank you, everyone.